It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 723, Amanda's Diary, entry 12.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
What up, friends? Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine, and welcome to my diary. It's not that exciting. If you're brand new here, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. This episode, when I do my diary episodes, which I don't do them as often as I originally planned, is just to kind of give you an update on me and where I'm at in my own journey as an entrepreneur, as a fitness professional now, my exercise, eating, everything, all the fun stuff. So if you're like, hey, I'm kind of curious what Amanda's up to, then this is a great episode for you. If you're like, I don't care, then perhaps you should skip this one. Giving you some options here. But if you are new here, again, appreciate you. Some backstory about me is I've lived a mostly unhealthy life for the majority of my life, and obese and struggled with weight and body image for a very long time. I yo-yo dieted all through my 20s, so losing 60 pounds, gaining it back, losing 40, gaining it back, you know, that whole thing. And then over the past decade, it's been almost a decade, I've almost said reunion. My anniversary is New Year's coming up. So New Year's of 2012 is when I decided to jump on the journey I'm in now, which is to make the best decision possible in every moment and just live a healthier life. And through those healthier lifestyle choices and changes, I've lost over 100 pounds and mostly maintained. You know, I will say 2020 was a year. and through that have completely changed careers. I am now a certified personal trainer. I train at Cincy 360 Fitness in Cincinnati. I also have certifications in nutrition. I'm a certified nutritionist. I have a certification in behavior change and also as a weight loss specialist, and yeah, all of the fun things. So to give you an update where I'm at right now, currently in pain. If you've listened to this podcast for a while, you heard that in 2020, I hurt my back and couldn't exercise for a long time, several months, and with some sciatic pain. And she back because I do stupid things. Well, earlier this year, I got a concussion from falling off of a Swiss ball and banging my right temple into a door frame. And that turned into a more serious thing than I thought. I'm like, hey, I just banged my head. I've done that a lot. And it messed me up pretty bad. So that kind of took me out of the game for a little bit and slowly worked myself back up. And super exciting over the summer. I was deadlifting for the first time in my life. My body had never been able to get in that position. Starting to lift heavy again, feeling really good. And I kind of fell off on my physical therapy exercises. So I will say, shame on me, hand slap, that I should know better. But it's a lesson learned there. So I kind of got a little bit more lax on the physical therapy stuff. And then I was doing, there's a little obstacle course at a playground near my house. And I was doing that last week, and that was fun. And I'm like, won't it be fun to just go down the slide at the end? And it was wet, which I didn't think it was going to make that big of a deal. I have not gone down this slide before, and I was yeeted off this thing. I could not slow myself down, flew off a slide at a playground by myself. P.S. I have no kids. And I just flew off and landed hard onto my lower back, and just lightning bolt of pain in my body, laid there like I was dead for about 10 minutes. Got up, and then I just immediately was like, oh, I recognize this pain. And so I've kind of I couldn't get into my physical therapist, who's Megan Springer here in Cincinnati, who is absolutely amazing, who helped me get out of pain last year. And so that happened, last Wednesday? And then I couldn't get in till Monday of this week. And she's just, my hips were just all jacked up, and my sciatic nerves being pinched, this pain going down my leg. And she got me out of pain. And then she's like, well, you're just going to go into training at the gym all night and probably going to mess this up again, which I did. And then I'm going again this afternoon, but then I have to train all afternoons afterwards. So, that's life though. It's like, can't just completely bail on my responsibilities. But so I'm feeling pretty confident she got me out of pain for a few hours until, I'm lifting weights and dragging stuff around and up and down off the floor a million times and twisting and turning and kind of just gonna pop that bad boy back into place of getting that nerve pinched. So I'm on a little hiatus from exercise right now, outside of the just moving around with my job, because being a personal trainer is a very physically active job. I really rock my step count now, minus being kind of funky and messed up. So that's the main thing in my world right now. So as far as my goals and everything, I was setting up a goal right before this happened, and I'm just going to stick to it. I've had this goal in the past, and I never really put in the regime to it, I guess, or the really hardcore thought and focus. If I really do want to get an unassisted pull-up or chin-up, I've never been able to do that. And I was absolutely shamed when I did the Presidential Fitness Challenge when I was a kid. I couldn't do any of those things. And so I'm like, I would really like to do that. My goal would be like before I turn 40. I turn 40 next August, in August of 2022, which I feel like is somewhat reasonable if I put in the time and effort. So we'll see. I mean, I work at a gym, which you would think of like, oh, you work at a gym, you have all this time to work out. No. At least I don't. I have a totally whacked schedule between that and the podcast and my own sorts of things. So we'll see. So that is a goal I would like to work on. Right now, I don't have any like weight loss goals or anything like that. It's just be healthy, kind of just, make sure I'm feeling good mentally and physically. Which I will say that about weight loss as well, because I'm sure that if you're listening to this podcast, you may have some weight loss goals in mind, that making those healthy choices and feeling good, sometimes the weight just kind of falls off with that. And in my weekly check-ins with Sarah, with Team Fit With Me, you can even just see with the stress and everything I'm going through, just inflammation in my body, even though I'm the healthiest choices, food and exercise-wise, but not healthy choices when it comes to sleep and my stress management. And my body holds on to that. And I think it's important to note how that stuff really affects your body. That sometimes you're like, hey, I'm doing all the quote unquote right things. I'm doing healthy choices for myself. Or so you think, or the healthy choices when you think of like, food and exercise. But if your stress management's out of control and you're not getting good sleep and stuff like that, your body will show you those things. And I've definitely been really like just inflamed and having some days that I just feel like bleh, because I'm just eternally terrible at stress management, and I'm trying to get better. I'm working on managing my schedule better, trying to schedule days off, trying to take more time for meditation and chilling out. And so that is a big deal. And that's kind of where I'm focused on right now. I will say with Sarah being my health coach, she's been my coach for almost exactly a year now. So it was this time last year where, I was in a really bad place in 2020. I just went on antidepressants. I was, being unable to exercise and not really sure how to navigate through that. So I'm so glad I have more of the tools this time around in injuring myself and kind of going through this sciatic pain of how to maneuver around that and what's safe to do and whatnot. And I think that's, from having a great physical therapist who was recommended to me by Shelly, who owns Shalates. And was absolutely amazing too, is doing Pilates on the Reformer. Incredibly helpful. And unfortunately my schedule isn't as conducive to that anymore, which is a bummer, because that was so helpful in getting my body moving in really good ways. Was doing Pilates with Shelly. So hopefully that's back on the schedule at some point. So if Shelly, you're listening to this, hi Shelly, miss you. So when I started with Sarah, I'm like, hey, I obviously am certified in these things, and I have done this for myself for 9 years, and I'm just in a really bad place. And can you help me out? And all coaches have good coaches behind them, and support system is so important. And so with the help of Sarah, really kind of got my head back in the game and getting into a good, healthy place where I feel healthy mentally and physically over the past year. And this week, so Sarah, when she's your health coach, she has so many different people on her team. It's just amazing to see how Sarah has grown her business as coaching and through quitting her corporate job and making this her full-time job, which obviously I relate to, of when you're so passionate about something and it's changed your life and you're like, man, I can really see how this changed me and how can I help others have the same experience of just feeling so good in, your mind and your body. And Jess, who is on her team, you can have her do your meal plans for you and have her recipes. So I tried that out this week, which was really awesome because it's so much stuff I've never made before. I tend to get in ruts all the time. I'm a meal prepper and I like eating the same thing over and over again. And I definitely know that's not for everybody. Don't worry. Everybody lets me know in my DMs how much they don't want to eat the same thing every day. I fully understand, but I do. So that's just my own personal choice. I like that. It helps me. It makes my brain more calm and it makes me happy. So with Jess, with the meal plan that I've been doing this week with Team Fit With Me, so she sends you a list of all of your meal options, and she can do it for multiple different days. So you don't eat the same thing every day. That was my choice to do that. And I'm trying making things that I've never made before. So for breakfast, I'm having a white chocolate chip macadamia nut baked oatmeal, which is amazing. I'm having a tuna. Am I saying this right? Poke bowl? I don't know. Freaking phenomenal. Also, I will say for that tuna, well, at least here in Cincinnati, I went to Fresh Time, and because I couldn't find it anywhere else, and I asked them at the deli counter, and they had it frozen in the back in the little cubes and all that stuff, and they just sold it to me frozen and then let me unthaw it in the fridge. And those things, I've been a slut for those all week. This has been freaking delicious. My meal 3 has been a meatloaf with bacon on top with potatoes and green beans. That's a recipe from Jess. And then I was also PMSing when I chose this menu, so I chose a lot of sweet things. My next meal is a protein pumpkin cheesecake, which is phenomenal. And then I'm doing a cinnamon roll protein shake at night as my 5th meal. Yeah, and which has almost a full banana in it. And you're just I think we get so trained of first off, we do demonize bananas for some reason because of the sugars and the carbs. But hey, we need those things. And especially to have it at night. I'm eating this thing or drinking this thing at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I think that people get so freaked out about oh my God, I can't have carbs at night. I can't have those sugars at night. I can't have a banana at night. And it's absolutely fine. And it's fantastic. I have a sweet tooth at the end of the night. My last meal of the night, I always need something sweet. I really love the protein Kodiak cakes, put some chocolate chips in them, or some cottage cheese with some chocolate chips. I just need something sweet at the end of the night, so I enjoy this protein shake. So if you're interested in something like that, where Sarah's working with you with your macros and figuring out your goals, whatever your goals are, strength, weight loss, to just have a better grip on nutrition. If you want to get some labs done, see what's going on, she can work with you with that. And then she has people on her team like Jess who can create this meal plan for you, give you all the recipes. Sarah will give her your macros, and then she can figure that all out. It's fantastic. And if you want to save 10% on month 1 of all packages, you can go to teamfitwithme.com/poundthis. teamfitwithme.com/poundthis. That's in the show notes. So that's been great this week. And again, as my brain is kind of all over the place and I'm trying to figure out my back pain and getting into appointments and doing my own work and training and everything else, it's just nice, pun intended, to have that taken off your plate. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I've been with my food. Right now, it's just, I'm just eating healthy. I'm trying to work on some stress management. And I absolutely know that me freaking up my back is because of stress too. I've been extremely stressed. A lot of personal things going on in my life that I'm not going to discuss, but it's just a lot of stress in the past, especially month. So I know, and that's when I jacked my back up last year too. I was incredibly stressed of leaving my 20-year career in radio and going out on my own and really not knowing what I'm doing. And then here comes COVID and, and my body was because just stress. And I think that's an important thing to note too. I mean, I'm reading so many books slowly on how the body holds trauma and how, the body keeps the score and how, those things affect you of when sometimes these injuries are happening to me, or I'm not recovering as fast because I'm stressed and my body is just like, my central nervous system's a little fried. So I know that I need to calm the stress down. And that's harder for me than anything. Like, I can figure out the food, I can figure out the exercise, I can work on not being on the phone at night, taking some melatonin and working on my sleep hygiene. But the stress management, that is a constant work in progress. And, through multiple, podcasts I've done and episodes I've done of having these sorts of conversations, I do some straw breathing. I do that in the car. I will make sure I like listen to silence. I will take a long shower. I will try to go for a walk if possible. Just trying to do things to just kind of be in the moment and center myself. Especially, I do not do well with being overwhelmed at all. And when I get in those moments, I could just feel my whole body is just like tightens up. So that I am working on, and I will fully admit I suck at. So I feel like the back pain and everything will ease up a little bit when I'm doing a little bit better. And as I'm recording this, I have the whole morning off, quote unquote off, to be in my jammies and record podcasts and put together newsletters and do this sort of work from home before I head to the gym or have any meetings and stuff like that. So it's spending more of that sort of time of like not running around and every day being minute to minute to minute to minute is something that I am personally working on. I have discussed before I feel like, even though I'm having a stress problem and I'm dealing with another freaking injury right now, I still feel in such a good place with really loving and appreciating my body. And this is the first time in my life that I've really been feeling that. I had my hot bitch summer, and now I'm working on strong AF fall. We'll see. Then the back plays ball here. But yeah, it was such a good thing for me. I feel like for me personally, it was personal work for me over the summer to have my little hot bitch summer. And my own interpretation of that, or hot girl summer, was to just feel really good in my own body, no matter what my body looks like. Like, just fully accept my body, stretch marks, loose skin. Oh, you're not skinny enough, or you're too skinny. Like what my body is right now, to just fully love and appreciate it. And that is an intense amount of work that has been years in the making. And I don't know, I'm just excited to say that it's a possibility of at least having moments, and it's not all the time or every single day, but to just really love and appreciate my body and wear clothes that before I would feel like, oh, that's not for me. I can't wear a tank top like knotted up, or I can't wear a crop top, or I can't do these things, and put all of these rules on myself because that's like some societal rule of like, you have to be like, this specific bodied person in order to wear those things, and to just throw that out the window. And even though it's been out of my comfort zone, wearing a bikini, wearing crop tops, and just owning it, of being like, it doesn't matter, like, get out of my head that I have some flat pancake ass, like, that is you, and who cares? Like, as long as you're just owning it and you feel good, just do it. So I would say especially this summer was a really big challenge for me personally, to wear the clothes I thought were cute, to feel confident in them, to post pictures of it in it, and just for me to work on pushing myself out of my own comfort zone and these own like walls and this own fenced in space that I put myself in, because that's just the cultural message is that you got to look that certain way. And then you look at Instagram or watch TikToks about Instagram of how everyone is like photoshopping themselves and shaving their hips down and everything else. And to be like, all this stuff is fake. So I'm just going to put myself out there and I'm going to try to just really love it. As I said earlier, I'm pushing 40 and be 40 next year, and it's getting to the point in my life of just like, F it, dude. Like, I only have this one life. I need to start loving this body I'm in and stop terrorizing myself so much or beating myself up because I gained weight through COVID and everything else. And of just like how much I'm just so mean to myself, of just like, no, as long as I'm making the best decision in every moment and I'm feeling good physically and mentally, that's the important part. And everything else will kind of fall into place around that. And to really kind of centering myself back to those things has been really important for me to just try to love myself, love the process, and not get so into my head. Especially as I'm learning a health and fitness career, and the health and fitness industry has so much toxicity to it, to try to bring my own flavor and my own experience to what I can in that space. And, navigating through all of that is a process. And it's been an interesting ride and it continues to be, but I'm learning so much as a personal trainer, not only for me and my own fitness. I mean, human anatomy is not my strong suit, and I'll be very blunt about that. And I'm learning. I huge shout out to Nick at Cincy 360 Fitness. He's been mentoring me once a week of answering all my questions and helping me get better as a trainer. And, I'm watching videos and I read books, and I love being able to have this like one-on-one experience with people and watch them get stronger from week to week, and have these conversations of maybe saying something that clicks in a different way for someone. I was just having a conversation with a new client this week about cardio. And she was curious, is like, hey, do I need to go run on the treadmill for a half hour after a workout? Or, what kind of cardio do I need to focus on? And I have in my head, I have to do all this cardio. I'm like, well, to me, I'm like, whatever feels good to you. If you enjoy hopping on the treadmill, like, have at it. I'm like, that is not something I'm going to prescribe to you. My prescription would just be try to move more a little bit every day. Try to get the steps up a little bit of, make sure you get up and walk around the block or walk around the office, or just, the cliche park further away in the parking lot and take the stairs sort of thing of like, I think that if you can get just more general movement in every day, and you're doing that every day and that just becomes a part of you, I feel like that's more beneficial than forcing yourself to get on a treadmill or an elliptical if that's not your jam. Like a HIIT session's different if you're like, I need a workout and I want to do cardio and that's the thing, and I want to get on and bang this thing out in 10, 15 minutes. That's, there again, everything is so different from person to person. I'm not prescribing anything to anybody outside of, I think that we should just have more healthy movement in our life that just feels good, like I just love going for walks. And so that's just a healthy movement. And I lost a lot of weight and got a lot healthier just by choosing to walk. And that, that's how my journey began. Well, it began with just trying to get a vegetable in my face and drinking some water and knocking off as many Red Bulls and, chilling out on the fast food as much as possible and making some smaller changes. And then from that, I just started feeling really good. And I'm like, I could go for a walk. And then I just started walking a lot, and I started running, which was my choice. And I still love to walk. Next weekend here in Cincinnati, I'm doing the Flying Pig Half Marathon, considering the back is cool. And I love walking those races. And I love this on Halloween, and I'm totally dressing up. I'm super hyped about that. But I am going to walk 13 miles, which, you don't have to do. But if you want to walk the 5K, you want to walk 3 miles, it's awesome. You can get a medal for walking. It's badass. I love it. So that's my pleasurable movement. Like I love lifting heavy and doing those things too, but ultimately, like I will always choose a walk. I love walking, especially outside. Walking on the treadmill, not so much. Ain't my thing. Walking outside, A+. So, having these conversations with people and this client where she's just like, oh, I didn't think about that. I just think that like, oh, if I'm trying to lose weight or I'm trying to be healthier, I need to do all of this cardio. And I'm like, I mean, it just all depends. And we had a conversation about, with her and her specific situation. So it's like, it's fun for me to be like, have these kinds of conversations and, at least, let people know. And the same thing with this podcast of like, you don't have to have this like image of you go get your ass beat every day, or you have to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every day in order to be quote unquote healthy. It's healthy is, just thinking of I'm taking care of my body and I'm fueling my body and I'm feeling strong and I feel confident and I feel good and I feel energized and awake and less stressed and all of these things. That's healthy. You know what I mean? And so if you're making those choices and being healthy, then are the things that make you feel good and make you just, appreciate life in your body, then that's health. And then from goals from there, then break down some specifics. So I am taking on new clients, by the way. If you are in Cincinnati, Cincy 360 Fitness is in Columbia, Tusculum, that area of town on the east side. And you can just send me an email, amanda@amandavalentinebites.com, if you're interested in one-on-one personal training with me. So that's cool. I'm trying to think what else is going on. I mean, that's the main thing is just, this is year one for me being a personal trainer. So a lot of learning and, just a lot about movement outside. And it's a totally different animal too, learning to train someone else versus knowing to train yourself and the things that I like to do and learning the process of like, okay, I like to do these and I know how to do these, but how do I have the words to coach somebody else to this? And is this the right exercise for them? And what's going on with their body and building out a program that helps them reach their goals and makes them feel good in their body and stuff like that. It's just, it's something I had not done previous to this year. And so it's a lot of work and it can be frustrating, but it's also extremely rewarding and very happy with my choice to do that. And as far as like the virtual health coaching goes, that's on pause right now while I'm focusing on the in-person stuff and kind of getting a handle on that. So I know some of you have emailed me or messaged me about virtual coaching, and I'm still figuring that piece out as I'm figuring out my time. And that's why I would highly recommend go to Sarah if you're looking for a great health coach. Also, a heads up, I did have my Patreon podcast, Pound Town, and I have paused that for now. So if you are a Pound Town member, hopefully you got the message saying that I shut everything down so nobody's getting charged. That's just because as I'm learning to take care of myself and the stress management, it's just too much. And I think it's important to recognize when things are too much. I thought I was very excited to chat with friends and have good conversations with them. And then chasing people around to get an interview done was just stressing me out. People are so flaky. And so, and I think it's even harder whenever they're your friends. So it was just a big run around. It was a lot of work. It was stressing me out. And I'm like, I cannot charge somebody, even if it's $5 a month for something that I am not on top of. And I didn't feel good doing it. So like, this has to take a pause. So thank you so much to everybody who supported me with that, because I do need support for this podcast to keep this thing running. But, I don't want to put anything out there that's not up to my standards personally. And I didn't feel like it was up to my standards. So I appreciate so much everybody that wanted to support me in this podcast, especially, financially, which is needed. But yeah, that's just where I'm at right now. So that's just on a pause, and maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll come back as something different. I don't know. It's just right now that something is a little bit too much. And so I have to say no and walk away. And that's what I'm trying to do too, is just figure out with everything of like, okay, my schedule is just bonkers, and it is, I always run pretty right on the edge of the line of burnout. And when I'm burned out, I'm no good to anybody. I am a natural introverted person. And especially now with being an in-person personal trainer, it's just very draining on just who I am as a person. And so of having good recharge time, I do every day at the end of the day, I need alone time. I have to be alone. I have to recharge, or I am just a mess. So of knowing that that's something that's needed, and how I tend to overwork myself, and how I see my own patterns of doing that over and over again. And that just goes into just life, right? Or you notice that you do something, or if you're like, I'm on this healthy eating kick and I did it for months and now I slid right back into this bad territory that I don't feel good again. And it's the same sort of thing, just with stress management and scheduling, that I'll back things off and I'll feel fantastic. And then I'll start piling it on again because I feel good. And then the cycle continues. So that is something that I'm working on personally as well, which I feel like we all could use. It feels like everybody, at least in my world, and I have a toe dipped in a lot of worlds, everybody feels so tired and drained. And, it's just, we're in the middle of this pandemic still. And oh my gosh, shortages and people arguing and tensions are high. And I just feel like we're all just I am just exhausted. Life is just pretty exhausting right now. So I think it is important that we take time of knowing what fills our cup and what fuels us, and taking that time. I'm giving this advice to myself as I'm saying this, to really take care of ourselves. You know, we have this one life and this one body, and we need to take care of it in the best way that we can. And, you know, being at burnout or exhaustion, you know, it doesn't mean you have to, you know, and I'm telling myself this because I love traveling and I have not really done any traveling, that, you know, I'm like, hey, I don't need to go fly away to the mountains and to escape and to relax. Although that sounds really freaking awesome, and I feel like I do need that, but that's not a possibility in this very moment. So what ways can I work in some calmness into my schedule and learn how to say no more? I'm really bad at that. And so that's a big thing that I'm working on right now. So working on nutrition with Sarah, and working on getting back into my fitness with my physical therapist, Megan, and working on my own stress management through just a lot of trying to work some podcasts and really taking an evaluation of my own schedule and what can stay and what can go. Also, shout out to Ashley Hinsman from The Life Less Cluttered, who I used to work with at the radio station, and now she owns her own business, which is The Life Less Cluttered. She's a professional organizer, and she's organized my pantry before, which has already turned back into a train wreck because that's how I roll, and to help me with my schedule management and how to block things out and learning what needs to stay and what goes, and I'm a professional communicator, prioritize things. And that's been incredibly helpful too. So again, reaching out to people and asking for help is also a main theme of mine, because I've struggled with that a ton in the past, and recognizing, you know, where some weak points are and where I need to ask for help, and not worry about looking stupid or a failure in my own brain, and just doing what I need to do to live my best life. So I feel like I've spent a half hour talking about myself. It's a little intense. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. But that's where I'm at right now with all of the things that I have going on. If you are in Cincinnati, I'm going to be at the Flying Pig Expo with Erin from Me Active. I'm going to be at her booth all dressed up Halloween weekend. So Friday at the expo, Saturday at the expo. And then I'm walking the half on Sunday. Working on some big things with some other local companies that hopefully will be coming to the gym soon. Hopefully some new fun events and seminars and things like that. So if you don't follow Cincy 360 Fitness on Instagram or Facebook, I would appreciate you following that, as I'm trying to devise a plan of some cool stuff going there. Oh, also shout out to Allie Martin, who helped me take my podcast studio at the gym into a fully functioning video studio. Oh, and then my laptop brick last week. So my laptop was off to Apple all week. So that was a pause too. So I have my laptop back now, obviously, because I'm recording and this podcast is coming out. But so hopefully some video content coming soon for the podcast. Also maybe some TikToks and stuff like that. So that's also in the works. And so shout out to Allie for helping me out with that, which has been incredible because I suck at video. I was in radio forever. I know audio, sort of. Video is a no-go, and I've got too much else to learn right now that's not a top priority. So Allie's been incredibly helpful with doing some video stuff. So yeah, if you don't follow me on Instagram, keep an eye out for those things. You can pound this if you are interested in personal training. You ever have any questions, you want to say hi, whatevs, you can always send me an email, amanda@AmandaValentineBites.com. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you so freaking much. Can't even tell you how much appreciate you listening to this podcast. This podcast is my baby, and I love that you're here. So thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
AmandaValentineBites.com